Hey, D-Mel here, and I'm going to hope you're going to share this message. I put out a lot of messages all the time between my podcast on teamdml.com and here on Facebook Live. Been doing Facebook Lives for many years now, going 4 years. 4 years this month, actually. Probably have had easily 200 million video plays and into the millions of shares over the course of time. Back before even that, probably 1,000 appearances on television and radio. I can't think of a single time throughout all those times that I've ever had a news story bother me as much as this one. Kate Steinle, the girl who was killed in San Francisco with her father while they were just walking on a pier by an illegal alien. 7 times he had been deported, and he still was allowed back in to live in San Francisco, stole a gun, and killed the girl. That one almost got me to the point of where I'd say that was the most gross one ever. But today takes the cake. In fact, I had to step back a few times before I went live because I was so enraged in today's environment. Believe it or not, it's true. You have to watch what you say. Because God forbid you say the wrong thing. If you say somebody who pisses somebody off at Silicon Valley, if they don't like the way you pronounced something, they'll kick you off. And here's what I came down with after thinking about it for a while. I can actually give a rat's ass if they kick me off. I won't give a shit because I'm going to say something here. And if I didn't say it, I wouldn't feel like the man I know I am. I would feel like my kids should not be proud of me anymore. I feel like you should unlike my page. You should stop your subscriptions. You should never, ever, ever rely on me for anything ever again. If I was so cowardly that I wouldn't get on Facebook Live and do what I'm about to do right here. Okay? Because I'm not going to run and hide from what is the truth. I want you to just imagine what would be taking place in this country if on Sunday there was a report that read similar to these words. Today, a white man, 25 years old, came out of his home and shot a 5-year-old little black boy while he was riding his bicycle with his 2 sisters. For no reason, we have no motive of what the murder was done for, but we do know that eyewitnesses saw the white man walk out and go right to the 5-year-old boy, take out his gun, put it to his head, and shoot and kill the 5-year-old boy point blank. Then he ran back into his house. If that story would have been a reality on Sunday past, let me give you 3 certainties that I can bank my balls on. May God cut off my balls if I'm wrong. Here's what would happen. Number 1, the New York Times, CNN, and every other liberal rag in this country, every other liberal television station in this country would be calling for the president to step down. They'd be blaming him. They would be blaming him for some white guy out of North Carolina. They'd be hunting for some picture where he's got some rebel flag sitting up there, the Confederate flag sitting up there. They'd be searching through everything in his social media to find anything that he ever remotely said that was even close to being racist. They would wind up having it pasted all over the place. That's number 1. This story would be running wild, and they would be connecting it somehow, some way, back to the systemic racism that's in this country, propagated by your president. That's what number 1 would be. Number 2, there would wind up being fires and looting and possibly killing through every single city in this country, if not just in North Carolina alone, where the story happened. The 3rd thing that would happen is that every single last black leader in the United States and every single radical lefty in the United States would be calling for the man to be charged with a hate crime. Those are the 3 things I can guarantee you. I would be willing to bet my balls on it. You understand? But here's the problem. That's not the story today. See, the story today it goes like this. This is the true story. A 25-year-old black man walked out of his house, went up to a little white boy who was 5 years old. He was riding his bicycle with his two sisters, doing nothing. Walked up to him, took out his gun, put it to his fucking head, and pulled the trigger. Then ran back into his house like a chicken shit. That's the real story. But had you not heard that from me, or seen it on one of the few little local stories, you wouldn't have caught it. The New York Times isn't running with it. They're not outraged. Because all lives matter is a nonsense statement. Don't you understand? If you say all lives matter, you don't understand the gravity of the issue. That's what they tell us. Bullshit. You can stick that one up your ass, New York Times. You could all stick it up your ass, the whole liberal left of you, who are the ones who drive the hatred in this country. Because let me tell you something, I go back to all the reports I've ever done. I don't sit on television. I never sat on television and did something of the likes of a black man came outside and shot a white boy today. I didn't do that. It was always a man shot a boy. Although I got to tell you something, in my day, I didn't have to do many of these stories, if any. But now today, everything's about black and white. I didn't make it that way. You didn't make it that way. The media made it that way. And we got cities burning down, and we got everybody telling you that there's injustice, and we got everybody telling us Black Lives Matter. This is despite the fact that we asked the question, well, why isn't anybody worrying about the drive-bys? Why is anybody worrying about the 2-year-old, the 5-year-old, the 7-year-old who just got killed in South Chicago? Why aren't we covering that? Why do those lives not matter? So I sit here to you today, depending on who you are. I sit here as a white guy, bitching and moaning about a 5-year-old white kid who was killed by a black guy. That's how some of you will see it. The rest of you who have any sense of just normalcy see this as being the most hypocritical crime of our year. This is the most hypocritical crime of the year. Because not are we just talking about a criminal who shot a young boy, but we're watching our country be ripped down by a narrative that is so divisive and so looking to destroy everything that this country was built on, that you got a guy now like me, outraged, because I'm looking at this and I'm seeing this for what it is. And I'm seeing this as the story that's getting ignored. And here's why it's getting ignored. Because it's that guy who killed that kid. That's why this is ignored. That guy killed that kid. And that's what it is. And if it was anything different, if it was a white guy killing a black kid, we would be hearing nothing today about Kamala Harris. All we would be hearing about is the fact that we need her in there in her prosecutions. Everything that she's done, she needs to crack down and do what's right. But no, we don't hear anything of the reverse today. Nothing of the reverse. And it is pathetic. And it is outrageous. And you know what? I would tell you that it has to stop, but it's not going to. Let's be honest. It's not going to. I want to just tell you something else here about this guy, okay? Because I think it's a little important for me to point out there. I'd love to hear what Kamala Harris has to say about this one. All right? According to the Wilson Times out of North Carolina, the guy who killed the little kid, his last name is Sessoms, Darius Sessoms. He was previously convicted of felony larceny of firearms in Wilson County in March of 2016. Misdemeanor maintaining a place for a controlled substance in Wake County in April 2016. And felony marijuana possession in Nash County in November 2016. Now here's the crazy thing, right? Had this guy been arrested and roughed up a little bit by a cop, all we'd be hearing about this guy is how it is that he's got social injustice. He'd be a martyr. We'd be talking about him how it is that it's just so unfair for him. Why aren't we talking about how it is that he took a gun and shot a kid, a 5-year-old boy? You couldn't get any more weaker, man. The kind of slime and weak piece of garbage that does something like that, I can't. More outrageous than what this guy did is the fact that you're not hearing about it on every single outlet at the top of every hour. The bullshit that's happening in this country right now has got to stop. And you got to understand out there that when you go and you elect these radical morons, this is what you get. Criminals allowed out of jail, innocent people being killed or having their businesses burned to the ground, and you being told that it's your freaking problem, that it's the systemic racism in this country. I'll tell you what is freaking racist. The term Black Lives Matter in of itself is a racist term. If you were to say Latino lives matter, or if you were to say Asian lives matter, you don't get the point. And if you were to say white lives matter, you're a fucking racist. You want to hear that? That's what they will tell you every single time. This boy was supposed to start kindergarten on Monday, and nobody in the media gives a rat's ass. So you want to know something? Does it really matter? Does this Facebook bullshit, Twitter bullshit matter? It doesn't. Does your 9 p.m. favorite host on television matter? It doesn't. All these people just screaming and putting headlines and letting the shit go round and round, making a frickin' fortune. And meanwhile, the real crimes taking place in this country are getting absolutely rolled over. Rolled over. If you're pissed off about it, there's nothing wrong with you. If you're not pissed off about it, you're just as slimy as all the media folks are. That's it.